Hello, I have two quick things that I'd like to talk to you about today. The first one is I want to talk about a couple of common mistakes that I've seen when referring to graphs. So I'd like to talk about that, and then I'm going to end this video and do another video on one of the assignments that might be a little confusing this week. So that's what the two videos are for this week. So the first problem that I'd like to talk about is when you see distributions, and you'll have to excuse me because my drawing is going to be very rough here. So when you see a histogram and it looks sort of like this, we would call that roughly symmetric, and that's enough to say that it's symmetric. And you know from last week that that means that the mean and the median are equal to each other. And so in order to get a curve out of this, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of smooth it out. So I'm leaving some area on top and some area on bottom, and there what I've done is smooth that out. And so now I'm just going to draw the curve, and I'm going to leave the histogram part out of it. So when you see a curve that's shaped sort of like that, what we're going to do is we're going to call that a symmetric curve. You will also hear it called a bell-shaped curve. And you will also hear it called a normal curve. And we will spend quite a bit of time on that. Some curves, however, are not symmetric, bell-shaped, or normal. They are what is called skewed. And a skewed curve looks like, here's one. So that started off looking exactly like a normal curve, except what happened was I added a little more data over on the right. So if it had been a normal curve, let me see if I can, let's see. If it had been a normal curve, it might have looked like this. But what I did was I added this extra data here over on the right. And because I added the data on the right, this is called a skewed right graph. Skewed right. Most people like to call this a skewed left graph, and that is incorrect. You think of it as being skewed left because the bump is more to the left. The skew, where we added the extra data, is to the right, and so this is called a skewed right graph, and that's a very common mistake that I see in statistics. If you think of this as being like I've heard people call it a dinosaur, the skew is the tail of the dinosaur. And then a skewed left curve would be something more like this, and you can see again the skew, the tail, is over on the left. So this is called skewed left. So I want you to watch for those because they're sort of counterintuitive. You would like to call this one, this bottom one here, skewed right, and you'd like to call the top one skewed left, and that is exactly backwards. So keep that in mind, that when you're talking about skew, that it's towards the tail. In the last unit, last week we talked about what happens to the mean and the median when you pull data towards a particular direction. So for this one, because we have added data over to the right, that's going to mean the mean is higher than the median. And for this one, the mean is lower than the median. And that's all I wanted to say about that. Thank you very much.